Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of Ausdauer Financial, where we cover all kinds of financial news, tips, trades, and other recommendations for financial-related information. In this edition, we're going to be covering the basics of credit cards. Now, there are a lot of details out there, which is probably one of the reasons why so many people are so confused about how to deal with credit cards. Do you completely banish them from your life? Do you use them? What do you do with them? Well, today's video, I'm going to cover just the basics of credit cards. There is a ton more information out there, and if you like this video and want to hear more about it, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll be happy to cover in more detail in different areas in a future video. For today's purposes, let's go ahead and get started with some high-level statistics for you. There are a variety of different kinds of credit cards out there. There are billions of credit cards issued worldwide. And the biggest players in the credit card industry are Visa and MasterCard, which, by the way, are just technology companies that process the transactions. When you get a credit card from whatever institution it is, you're looking for that Visa or MasterCard logo. That indicates that while they're not managing the cash flow per se, that's through the banks, and they're the ones who manage the statements and then the actual cash itself. These two do the actual transmission of the funds. They're the ones who are the gateway to allow money to flow electronically through that. They're the biggest players, not the only players. There's also American Express, there's also Discover, there's others out there. I listed these two because they are by and far the biggest players in the game, and they give you the greatest illustration as to what we're talking about when it comes to credit cards. And the majority of your credit cards in your wallet, if you have American Express, Discover, etc., are going to have a Visa or MasterCard logo on it, and most places in the world accept those logos. Some people don't accept Discover, some don't accept American Express, etc., Diners Club, etc., because there's fees associated with them. Universally, everybody accepts MasterCard and Visa. There's virtually no difference between them. And between these two, just talking Visa and MasterCard, these companies have issued well over 3.5 billion cards with their logo on it. That's a massive number of cards. And on those cards, just 40% of 3.5 billion earn them their $35 billion annual revenue. What does that tell me? It tells me two things. That 60% of credit cards issued, they don't make jack on, and they don't need to. They process the transactions and they send them on their happy way because they are making a fortune on the 40%. That also tells me that credit cards can be extremely dangerous. How many out there of you have some degree of credit card debt, whether it's as low as a few hundred or as high as tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt? That 40% brings them in so much money that, believe me, they care less about the 60%. They're even willing to give you rewards just to sign up, even if you are in the 60%, knowing they're going to eat that money, because you're going to be making so much from the 40%. That is a calculated return on investment. So, knowing that, in my opinion, I used to be in a position where credit card debt was a massive problem for me. It may have been for you as well. But through mastering some self-discipline, some budgeting, and learning tricks of the trade of how these credit card companies solicit customers, how they really win, and the various benefits that they offer to try and get you using their cards, you can actually use them to your advantage. Having said that, you have to be very careful and quite disciplined with a credit card to get into 60%, because believe me, it is not difficult to end up in the 40%. Using a credit card and then running into a financial crisis, boom, you're in the 40% just like that. You blink and you've done it. it gets very difficult. However, there are strategies to mitigate that, to keep yourself in the 60%, and we'll get into that. Regarding that, fundamentally, it all comes down to how you use the credit card. I'm a personal believer of you don't use a credit card for which you cannot already afford to use your debit card for, because then you're not spending your own money, you're borrowing money, and that's essentially what these credit card companies are trying to do. They're trying to sell you money, and believe me, with over $30 billion a year in revenue, plus how much they already had, in their pocket, they can afford anything your credit limit will allow. Believe me, if you've got an unlimited credit limit on some of these elite cards, and you go out and charge $100,000 on a new car or something like that, they can easily cover that on their end of things. Now, how are you going to cover on your end of things is the big question. If you don't have the bankroll to be able to have gone into that dealership and buy that Ferrari in cold hard cash, you shouldn't be putting it on your credit card in the first place. Here are some things that I do with credit cards. I use credit cards for a few things. One, I do believe in using credit cards in a very strict manner for payoff. You have a lot of 0% balance transfer credit card offers out there, and you can effectively use them to eliminate debt at 0%. However, it takes a very strict protocol to make that work. Any deviation from that, and you're shooting yourself in the foot, and you end up back in the 40%. Believe me, having done it wrong before, it is financially painful to screw that up. You have to be very careful with it, you have to be disciplined with it, but you can do it. What I've done, and as simple as this, okay? If you do a 0% balance transfer for 12, 18, 20, 24 months to pay off a certain amount of money, let's say I took $5,000, I put on a 0% balance transfer, I have to calculate, okay, I have, let's say, 15 months of 0% introductory rate from this credit card. Let's break down that $5,000 by 15. Let's say that it's just a round number of $100 a month, and then the money is paid off in 15 months, clean and clear, $100, what have you. That would be on $1,500, but you get the idea. You break down the total amount you're putting on the card plus the transfer fee, because let's put it this way, you are going to have to pay a 4% processing fee to transfer the money. But when you consider the fact that there's a 0% interest, look at how much you're paying in interest on an annual basis on your 4% mortgage, on your 6% car loan, on your 8% credit card, or 25% on your credit card. If you look at just your minimum payments over the course of a year, you're going to be spending $100 in interest over the course of the year. This is a straight, flat 4% balance transfer fee. You're tacking on, like, let's say you do $1,200 balance transfer fee. You're tacking on, say, rough numbers. This isn't an exact calculation, but another couple $100 on that. And you have a set number of your fee of your balance amount you're transferring plus your fee. That's how much you have to clean and clear by the end of that 15-week period. You say, okay, break that down by 15 months. This is the exact amount that has to get paid to pay that off after 15 months. And then you put that in your budget that every single month that's how much you're going to do. And that's how you clear that off. You do not use that credit card for a darn thing. You put that on a shelf. You put that on your mattress. You put that someplace where it's out of sight, out of mind. It's not in your wallet. You have access to the account to make the payments. You schedule automatic payments every month. You get very strict and disciplined with it so that the only thing you're using that card for is paying off that set dollar amount to get rid of the entire balance by the end of that period. And by doing that, you're getting rid of that debt at 0%. Yes, you took on a one-time fee of a couple bucks, but You're saving money in the long run because whatever the vendor was with before would have charged you a whole lot more, and you would not have gotten rid of that entire balance by the end of that period with that vendor because of that accumulated interest tacked on every month with a car loan, with a house payment, with a credit card, what have you. That accumulates. With a 0%, that's flat at the beginning and you're just paying it off. I have done this multiple times and it works very well, but again, it requires strict discipline. For other areas, I have, now this just gets rid of debt if you're in that position. I'm a personal advocate of, if I'm going to bother using a credit card, I expect that credit card company to pay me to use it. Most people are just happy enough to have that credit limit available to go out and buy something. I can do that from any card. I want the cards that are going to pay me in cold, hard cash to use it. I have amassed over the past year alone $3,500, $3,500 clean and clear, cold hard cash from credit cards. My wife can testify. They don't come in every day, but they do come in. I've received maybe a dozen checks over the past year from different credit cards of $100, $200, $500, even $90. I'll take whatever amount they're willing to send me. But the reality of the matter is, this is found money. This is money with which, just by spending my credit cards on groceries, on gas, everyday living expenses, and not deviating from my normal operating budget, the credit card companies have paid me for using their credit cards to the tune of $3,500 in the past year alone. Granted, in order to do that, I had to sign up for a lot of credit cards. I've got 16 cards in my collection at the moment, and because all of those hits on my credit report over such a short period of time, I am now blacklisted from applying for new credit cards for 2 years until all those inquiries come off my record. That's fine, because guess what? I still walk away with my $3,500 in cold hard cash. I'm still accumulating cashback rewards every time I use my credit cards, and I still have the 16. It's not like it hurts me financially to not be able to apply for any new credit cards in the next 2 years. I'm still racking up more cold hard cash in cashback rewards from my operating credit cards. I have 16. I get that. That's a lot to manage. However, because I use this for everyday expenses, for example, I have one credit card I use solely for groceries, one I use solely for dining out, one I use solely for gas, and you get the idea. I've assigned a credit card to a specific purpose. Granted, even at 1.5% interest, it will take a while for a small $15, $20 gasoline purchase once every 2 weeks, once a month, once a quarter, whatever, to accumulate into a dollar amount that will leave you eligible to get the cashback rewards. Most vendors want a minimum of $25 worth of rewards before they let you pull it out. I have a limit of $100, more or less. When I've reached that gap, I'll pull out $100 and take my cash from the credit card and cash out and go my way. Because the payments for the gas, the groceries, the Amazon, all that stuff is already worked into my monthly operating daily living budget. When I get that bill in for like $100 or $500 or whatever the amount is, that money has already been set aside by my paycheck. It's just click and go. I'm not worried about where the money is coming from. I'm not worried about how to pay for it. It takes me 30 seconds to log in and say, okay, take it from this account. Boom, done, clean and clear. There is virtually no credit card management associated with doing it that way in my own experience. And it accumulates the rewards. Does it take time? Absolutely. The credit card from Amazon gives me rewards a lot faster than, for example, the credit card I use for gasoline, because I'm spending more on Amazon than I am on gasoline. But the rewards are still adding up. I have still gotten a check from most of these cards, and every single one that came up with a sign-up bonus, boom, I cashed in on that, no problem, $30,500 worth. So those are some strategies by which to pay off debt and to take advantage of these benefits from credit cards. The credit cards that do not come with cashback rewards, I don't touch them. They're wasting my time. I'm not interested in them. Now, debit cards are not credit cards, but they do come with a Visa MasterCard logo. Be very careful with those. Some banks charge you fees for using them. If they do, get a different bank debit card. You should never have to pay a debit or fee to use or maintain a debit card. If you're getting fees for insufficient funds or something like that, check your budget. Because fundamentally, you should not be spending money that you haven't budgeted for. And if you have a miscellaneous fund for the I don't knows or unknowns in a given month, that's fine. But keep your spending within the limit of that miscellaneous fund. If it isn't budgeted, you are not spending it. If it's something you need or something you want or what have you, then you need to assign a budget for that and accumulate the funds for that. Then, once you have that money in cash, in a savings account, checking account, or whatever, go ahead and use a credit card, cash in on those rewards, get that cold hard cash building up for you to come in a check in the mail to you or direct deposit to your bank. But that way, you can pay off the balance of that card with your operating budget where the cash is already sitting there waiting for you. Now, I know a lot of people get into trouble because they use the credit card to get them out of a pinch and they say, oh, I'll just pay it off later. And they don't have that cash here. And that's where you run into trouble. And that's what these vendors are banking on to get your money. Budget, budget, budget. Fundamentally, if you didn't have it in cash, you don't have it in a credit card. I don't care what your limit is. I have a credit card, multiple of them, with a $10,000 credit card limit. It never sees that. I put on X number of $100 per month out of my budget on that card and I pay it off. I am not interested in getting anywhere near the limit of that credit card. And my debit card, I do keep it. It doesn't pay me to use it, but it allows me to avoid those cash advance fees from credit cards. If you try to use a credit card at an ATM at a Western Union or something of that nature, it goes with the credit card as a cash advance and they will charge you a surplus fee for that. Why would I pay a cash advance fee on a credit card if I can take my debit card and do that free? This is all about getting stuff for free through discipline and practice, okay? So those are some tips on how to get started with credit cards in a manner in which will allow you to both pay off debt, get cash rewards for operating credit cards, and enable you to leverage your debit card in situations where credit cards would not be favorable to you. And if you're getting dinged by a debit card, get a new card. There are so many banks out there and they all issue debit cards. If your bank charges you a fee for having a debit card, then look at is it a fee for how you're using it? Because you can adjust that. Or is it a fee for having it? Then change banks. I've realized how much of a pain it is to change banks. I get it. I've done it. I've signed up for introductory cash back, cold hard cash rewards for changing my direct deposit with a different bank. I have done that multiple times. It is a little bit of pain, but let's say, for example, I sign up for a introductory offer where after 6 months I get $600, or after 4 months I get $400 to sign up for a new checking account with this new bank and use direct deposit with that, or one deposit checking or something of that nature. I have no problem making that adjustment to get that cold hard cash, because when the period is over, I have no obligation to stay with the vendor. And then it's better, what's most convenient for me? Is it worth staying with them, or is that bank too much of a hassle? For example, I signed up for that one deposit checking with Citizens Bank a number of years ago. I got my cash, I ran with it. Since then, that bank has been increasingly difficult from a personal perspective to deal with. I do not find it worth dealing with their operational hassles to keep their accounts. There are so many banks out there, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, yada, 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 TD Bank, etc., in which you can go to. Why would I deal with a bank that gives me a lot of hassle? Especially considering the fact that a lot of these are trying to bring in revenue so they can sell your money to somebody else. Well, in order to bring in your revenue, they'll offer you rewards for. If that reward happens to be cold hard cash in my pocket, send me the details, let me evaluate what's in my best interest, and we'll go from there. If there's too many strings, I'm not going to bother. But if it's simple enough, like just doing direct deposit or just doing deposit once a month for X number of months, then I'll strongly consider it. If there's a lot more to it, like minimum balances, etc., keep your money. It's not worth it. I'm already making money elsewhere. I don't need to bend over backwards to earn it and to give myself so many catches that it's easy to disqualify myself from getting the cold hard cash. Because why would I bother going through the effort of going to your account, to your bank, to your institution, if I have to kill myself to get the money? Not worth it. There's too many other ways of getting free money out of other revenues. So let me know what you think about what I think. Let me know if you think these are useful. Let me know if you agree, disagree, your thoughts, other areas in which other questions you have regarding credit cards. I'll be happy to address them with you. In the meantime, if you just happen to be coming across this video on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. And until next time, thank you for watching.